Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jayo Girivaradari Jayo Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jayo Girivaradari Jayo Girivaradari Jaya Yashodanandana Jayo Brajajana Ranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jayo Brajajana Ranjana Jayo Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jayo Girivaradari Jayo Girivaradari Jaya Yashodanandana Jayo Brajajana Ranjana Jayo Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada. Jayo Vishnupada Paramamsa Parijaka-Acharya Stotara Satasri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jayo Vishnupada Paramamsa Parijaka-Acharya Stotara Satasri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki Gaura Premanande Hari 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 Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 8. Canto 8 is titled Withdrawal of the Cosmic Creations, and we are into Chapter 16, the Payavrat Process of Worship, text number 26. Sinivalyam mridalipya snayat krodha vidirnaya yadi labhyete vaishrotasi etam mantram udirayet sinivalyam mridalipya snayat krodha vidirnaya yadi labhyeta vaishrotasi etam mantram udirayet sinivalyam mridalipya snayat krodha vidirnaya yadi labhyeta vaishrotasi etam mantram udirayet. Vidirnaya Etam mantram udiraye Sini valyam vadalipya Vaishnavis Valyam Mudalipya Snaya Krodam Vidilaya Vidirnaya Adila Beta Vaisrotasi Sini Valyam on the dark moon day Mrida with dirt Alipya smearing the body Snayat one should bathe. Krodha Vidirnaya, dug up by the tusk of a boar. Yadi, if labhyeta, it is available. Why? Indeed. Srotasi, in a flowing river. Etam mantram, this mantra, udiraye, one should chant. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. If dirt dug up by a boar is available, on the day of the dark moon, one should smear this dirt on his body and then bathe in a flowing river. While bathing, one should chant the following mantra. There's no purport, so we'll go to text number 27. I'll just read it. Tvam Devi Adi Varahena Rasayaha Sthanam Ichchata Udirtasi Namastubhyam Papmanam Me Pranashaya. Translation. O Mother Earth, you were raised by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of a boar, because of your desiring to have a place to stay. I pray that you kindly vanquish all the reactions of my sinful life. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Text 28. Nirvarti tatma niyamo devam arched samahitaha archayam standile surye jale vahna gurav api. Translation. Thereafter, one should perform his daily spiritual duties and then, with great attention, offer worship to the deity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and also to the altar, the sun, water, fire, and the spiritual master. Text 29. Namastubhyam Bhagavate Purushaya Mahiyase Sarvabhuta Nivasaya Vasudevaya Shakshine. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, greatest of all, who lives in everyone's heart and in whom everyone lives. O witness of everything, O Vasudeva, Supreme and all-pervading person, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Text 30. Namo Vyaktaya Shukshmaya Pradhana Purushaya Cha Chaturvimshat Gunagyaya Guna Sankhyana Hetave. Translation, repeat after me. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, the Supreme Person. Being very subtle, you are never visible to material eyes. You are the knower of the 24 elements, and you are the inaugurator of the Sankhya Yoga system. Purport, Srila Prabhupada. Chaturvimshat Guna, the 24 elements, are the 5 gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. The 3 subtle elements, mind, intelligence, and false ego. The 10 senses, 5 for working and 5 for acquiring knowledge. The 5 sense objects and contaminated consciousness. These are the subject matter of Sankhya Yoga, which was inaugurated by Lord Kapila Dev. This Sankhya Yoga was again propounded by another Kapila, but he was an atheist, and his system is not accepted as bona fide. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadah Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Good to see everybody here. First official day of summer, right? Good to see Harinam Ananda Prabhu here. It's like a child who has come back home. Good to see you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Okay. Canto 8, we're already into chapter 16, almost like 2/3 of the canto. Just a bit of background, in case you're new here, if you just like to know some background of what's going on here. So, in which Manvantara is this pastime taking place? Anybody? Huh? Vaivasvata Manu. Okay. That's the name of the, no, that's the post of the Manu, Vaivasvata Manu. We know that Lord Brahma lives for how many years? 100 years. Okay, and that is equal to 1,000 Chatur Yugas. Okay, what that means is Chatur Yuga is like Kali Yuga, no, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. 1,000 cycles of that. Okay, 1,000 cycles of that is Brahma's day, and then another 1,000 cycle of that is night, right? And in these 1,000 Chatur Yuga cycles, there are 14 Manus or 14 Manvantaras. So if you divide 1,000 into 14, what do you get? 71 and a little bit. All right? So each Manvantara, which is the lifespan of each Manu, is 71 Chatur Yugas and a bit. Now, in each Manvantara, there is a Manu, there is an Indra, there are the Sapta Rishis, the 7 sages, and Prajapatis. And they are all appointed. These are all posts, positions. When we say Manu, when we say Indra, when we say Prajapatis, and we say Saptarishis, they're all posts appointed. Who appoints them? Every Manvantara, there is a Manvantara avatar, an expansion of the Lord who actually comes into each Manvantara, just like how Lord Krishna, when he takes birth in Mathura, first he sends his dham, his associates, and makes all the arrangements, then he takes birth as somebody's son, right? Similarly here, the Manvantara avatar for each Manvantara will make all the arrangements, then he takes birth as somebody's son. So like in the first Manvantara, the avatar there is Yagyamurti. Okay, then as we go down in the fourth Manvantara, we have got Lord Hare. Why do I say fourth Manvantara? Because in the fourth Manvantara is when which pastime took place? Gajendra Moksha pastime in the fourth Manvantara, right? And Lord Hare was the Manvantara avatar. And then in the sixth Manvantara, the churning of the milk ocean pastime took place. And in that, the Manvantara avatar is Lord Ajita. Remember, he came as the tortoise and all that? Right. Now in the seventh Manvantara, which is now, it is, who is the Manvantara avatar? He's on the altar. Vamanadev. Okay? Vamanadev is the Manvantara avatar for this seventh Manvantara. And we are heading very close to his appearance in this pastime. Right? That's how this little background I wanted to give. We are leading up to, link up to Vamanadev. Okay? And the Manu, even though it is called Vaivasata Manu, the personality who was appointed to this position of Vaivasata Manu is Shraddhadev. And the personality appointed to the position of Indra in this Manvantara is Purandara. So when you say Indra this, Indra that, they're all positions, right? And Kashyapa Muni, who is here also in this pastime, is one of the 7 rishis or the sages who were appointed in this Manvantara. That's how it's all flowing. So when we talk about this pastime here, what's happening in this pastime so far? We know that in the 6th canto, in the 6th Manvantara where we had this churning of the milk ocean pastime and all that, there was a churning of the milk ocean pastime, Mohini Murti appeared, there was a big fight among the demigods and the demons, and then Bali Maharaj died, right? Died, and this pastime here is opening with Bali Maharaj being brought back to life by Śrīmad. So Bali Maharaj became his disciple and started serving Śrīmad very, very faithfully. So when he was serving him very faithfully, Śrīmad and the descendants of which Muni? Bhrigu Muni. Okay, the descendants of Bhrigu Muni, they were all very happy. And because Bali Maharaj was going to conquer the kingdom of Indra, they actually organized this big yagya called, what yagya? Vishwajit Yagya. We have covered all this. This is a bit of a revision. Vishwajit Yagya. So in this Yagya, Bali Maharaj became super strong, super powerful. Okay, he got all sorts of various empowerments, became super, super strong. Then he was ready to attack Lord Indra's kingdom. When he approached the capital, Indrapura, there was already a lot of panic among the demigods. They see the size, the strength of his army, Bali Maharaj's army and all that. Then it's like just the fighting which took place outside the outskirts of the capital city, it was already very evident that he was too strong for the demigods. So the demigods, they then approached their guru, Brihaspati, who then said now is not the time to fight Bali Maharaj, he's too strong. Why? Because he has pleased the descendants of all these Bhrigu Muni, and the Brahma descendants of Bhrigu Muni, they have empowered Bali Maharaj with the Brahma Tejas to make him super strong, super powerful. So Brihaspati told the demigods, now is not the time to fight him, leave. The only person who can conquer Bali Maharaj is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so all of you now leave for your own safety. And that's what happened. Everyone emptied the kingdom. They all took disguises, various forms, and they just wandered, they left unseen. So Bali Maharaj walks into an empty kingdom. It's a bloodless coup, right? So he just took over the whole kingdom, and then he started conquering the 3 worlds. And then he sat on the throne of Indra. Now, to sit on the throne of Indra, any jiva to be eligible to become Indra, they have to perform 100 Ashwamedha yagyas in perfection. The Brahmanas must chant all the mantras very perfectly, and they must do it 100 times, Ashwamedha yagyas. That's why when he sat on the throne, the Brahmana descendants then actually made arrangements for this Ashwamedha yagya to be performed, and they did it perfectly. He sat on the throne. Meanwhile, Aditi, the mother of the demigods, was very, very aggrieved with the situation which has happened to her sons, the demigods. And then she was morose, feeling very morose. And what happens? Her husband Kashyapa, from a state of trance, long period of trance of meditation, he comes out of that trance of meditation and he comes back to the ashram and he sees his wife, Aditi, very, very morose. So in that process, he then asks, what's wrong and all that. She says, my dear Lord, please give me the benediction that my sons can regain their, meaning the demigods can regain their position, right? Their fame, their opulence, their position and all that. And then he starts preaching philosophy to her. It doesn't work. Why? Because Aditi was distressed. Her mind and her senses were not actually suitable to receive spiritual knowledge. So then she said, no, I'm not ready for this. Tell me what is the best way to worship the Supreme Lord, to please Him, so that I can now do all the sacrifices properly. And that's how this Payovrat worship process is being introduced. All right? So you get the whole story now? Right. So then here in this verse today, text number 30, I want to cover a few points. We are hearing about the Sankhya Yoga system. We are hearing about that the Lord is very subtle or transcendental. He is Shukshmaya, transcendental, and that He is never visible to material eyes. So we'll cover a few bits of these points. 24 elements. Sankhya Yoga. What is Sankhya Yoga? Okay. Even before we talk about Sankhya Yoga, we got to go to Canto 3, where Lord Kapila appeared as the son of who? Devahuti and Kardama Muni. All right? So he appeared as the son of Kardama Muni and Mother Devahuti. And Kardama Muni, after fulfilling all his duties, even though the Lord was present in his house to set an example that we should follow regulative principles and leave home once we reach the age of 50, Kardama Muni left home. Mother Devahuti was living under the same roof with Lord Kapila, the place called Bindu Sarovar. So like that, life was going on. One fine day, she approaches Lord Kapila in a secluded place and says, and she boldly declares, this is a very important statement, declaration by Mother Devahuti. She says, I am tired. I am very tired by the disturbances caused by my material senses. And because of my engagement in sense gratification, I have fallen into an abyss of ignorance. That is the beginning of bhakti. Not just for Mother Devahuti, for all of us. We are all running around busy. Okay? But until we come to that point of acknowledging within ourselves that we are sick and tired of the material disturbances caused by material senses, we will not begin our journey in bhakti. Right? And only when she declared, Lord Kapila, who was there all the time under the same house, only when she declared, he started revealing Sankhya Yoga, which essentially is Bhakti Yoga. Right? So God is with us all the time. Until we, the conditioned living entity, we approach God and open up our heart and declare what we actually feel in our heart and mind, God then only can enter. Until then we are cheating ourselves. Right? So then what is Sankhya Yoga? Sankhya Yoga is, as we read in the purport, it's about analyzing the 24 elements of material nature. Right? To find out what is the source of all these elements, to find out the source of creation. So we know that we got the Pancha Mahabhutas, earth, water, fire, air, ether. That's the gross elements. Then it moves on to the subtle elements, mind, intelligence, false ego. And then we've got the karmendriyas, the working senses, the knowledge acquiring senses, jnanendriyas, the tanmatras, the objects of the senses. When we analyze this, we move from gross to subtle slowly. Right? And this analysis cannot be done by us with our contaminated consciousness, because it is contaminated, number one, and we got imperfect senses. So it needs to be analyzed in following parampara, bona fide disciplic succession, where the knowledge of the Sankhya Yoga is descending from the source, the Supreme Lord. So we base this Sankhya Yoga knowledge accumulation by channeling through the disciplic succession based on the denominator of following Vedic scriptures. Unlike, this is different to the scientists, the so-called researchers and all that, where they start from, with their contaminated senses, contaminated consciousness, where they start from the current point, and they do this experiment of, elimination, trial and error, not this, not this, not this, not this. But the Sankhya Yoga process, we still follow the neti, not this, but through this authorized channel. Right? Which means, starting with the gross elements, earth. Okay? So then we analyze and come to the conclusion, earth is not the source of everything. Fine, exclude that. Then after earth, what do we have? Water. Analyze that. No, it's not the source of everything. Then fire. No, it's not the source of everything. Then air, not the source. Then ether, that covers the gross elements. Then we come to the subtle elements. Mind is not the source of everything. Intelligence, not the source of everything. False ego, there's 3 kinds of false ego. Okay, it's getting more subtle and subtle now. False ego in the mode of ignorance, false ego in the mode of passion, and false ego in the mode of goodness. And still, that is not the source of everything. The sum total of all these 24 is what we call Prakriti. Right? Now, Prakriti in itself is not the source of everything. Because what is Prakriti? Prakriti is manifested, differentiated Mahatattva. Okay, so now we go another layer back. Beyond Prakriti, we got Mahatattva. Right? So then we ask ourselves, what is this Mahatattva? Where did this come from? Mahatattva is manifested but not yet differentiated Prakriti. Right? Which is also material. Mahatattva is also material. Then we ask ourselves, where did Mahatattva come from? We go one layer back. It actually comes from Pradhan. Okay? What is Pradhan? Pradhan is spirit, unmanifested, undifferentiated Prakriti. And how did this Pradhan come about? Mahavishnu, lying in the causal ocean, he casts his glance at a section of the spiritual sky, which is what is called Pradhan, that churns all this process for the material creation. Then we ask ourselves, where did Mahavishnu come from? Right? It all goes back to the Tribhanga Shama Sundar form of Lord Krishna residing in Goloka Vrindavan, playing his flute on the banks of the river Yamuna. Hare Krishna. That's the source. So Sankhya Yoga brings us to the lotus feet of this Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, and the practice of devotional service, Bhakti Yoga, is the serving of the lotus feet of this Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. And he is totally transcendental, totally spirit. Like here so we've moved from gross all the way up to the most subtle. So here we say, in the translation, Prabhupada writes, the Supreme Person being very subtle. And the word for word translation, Shukshmaya, which means transcendental. That's what Krishna is. Right? And how to explain this transcendental nature of Krishna? We've got to go into the beginning of Canto 7. Canto 7 begins with Parikshit Maharaj asking Shukadev Goswami, he asks, and this is after the end of Canto 6, where Diti, where she took a vow to kill Indra because she felt that he was responsible for the death of her sons. Namely, many sons, but namely, she felt aggrieved because he was responsible for the death of two demons. Who are they? Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. So she took a vow to kill Indra. All right? But that didn't happen. Okay? Indra was saved. So now, Canto 7 begins where Parikshit Maharaj is asking, how is it? It seems as though this Lord, who is meant to be the well-wisher of everybody, is meant to be equal to everyone, how come he seems to be favoring Lord Indra? And furthermore, this Lord, he's self-sufficient, he's got everything. Okay? He's the proprietor of everything. What does he have to gain by actually showing this partiality? This question of partiality comes about. Then Parikshit Maharaj asks for clarification from Shukadev Goswami about this partiality, and he says, please clear my doubt. Is the Lord neutral or partial here? So then Shukadev Goswami actually starts off answering that by establishing that the Lord is always transcendental. He is always nirguna. He is never attached to the material nature. He is always above the modes of material nature, above the modes of goodness, above the modes of passion, above the modes of ignorance. Right? And then for his Naralila, his pastimes, this Lord, he descends through his internal potency into the material realm to perform his wonderful, beautiful pastimes. And yet, when he enters into this material realm of 24 elements, he is untouched by these modes of material nature. It's interesting, isn't it? So we got the personality Krishna, who is always transcendental. His Antaranga Shakti, his internal energy, brings him to this material world. And then the material world itself is his Bahiranga Shakti, external energy, which is still his, but he is not actually combined in the material realm. He is always transcendental in the material realm with his own external energies. Right? So, but the conditioned jivas, the conditioned living entities in the material world are affected by the three modes. And the three modes are like seasons. Okay? Sometimes when the mode of goodness is prominent, the demigods flourish. That's what happened in Canto 6, where Indra seemed to flourish. Now, in this pastime, who seems to be flourishing? The demons, right? So it seems that it's not the mode of goodness at work here. It's either the mode of passion or mode of ignorance. In fact, it is when when the mode of passion is prominent, the demons flourish. Right? When the mode of ignorance is prominent, the Rakshasas, they flourish. So it's like this. It's not that the Lord is partial. He's always neutral, equal to everyone, and is always transcendental. But it is the modes which act on the conditioned living entities because of their contaminated consciousness, which makes it appear to us as though the Lord is showing favor. It's not. Right? So, we have established that the Lord is transcendental. Now, He is the most subtle of everything subtle. Right? Then, the translation today says, He is never visible to material eyes. Right? How do we understand that? Material eyes is what we got. Okay? Material eyes is imperfect. Anything in the material realm is imperfect. The Lord is perfect. The Lord is spirit. Okay? Matter is inferior to spirit. So with material defective senses, we cannot see the Lord with these kind of material defective senses. Right? But we, the conditioned living entities, always want to hold on to this belief that, or this adage that seeing is believing. What we see, we believe. Right? What we cannot see, we struggle to believe, or we brush off as, no, this is nonsense. For example, we can see a 30-40 ton metal flying in the sky, which today we call what as aeroplane. Okay? And we say, wow, we believe, but it's metal, 30-40 tons up in the sky. It's flying, we believe. Then we see again many tons of metal floating on water, which we call ships or liners or whatever. We believe, right? But when the scriptures reveal, like in the Kardama Muni pastime here that we are talking about, Canto 3, where there is a part where Kardama Muni, through his own tejas, he creates a floating city. Not just a plane, not just a ship, a floating city. And it travels all over with Mother Devahuti. Okay? Tell that to somebody and they'll say, no, I don't believe. Because they don't see. So seeing is believing. But our sight is limited. We only got a small range, short range of what we can see. Okay? And when we cannot see, even when that small range is being affected, we go and get glasses. Okay? To help us. And if we want to see any finer things, the so-called expert scientists or whatever, they will create, inventors, they will create a microscope to try and see tiny things which the naked eye cannot see. When we want to see something big, very far, we invent the telescope. And yet it is defective. Right? So, with our imperfect senses, we cannot see the Lord. The Lord is spirit. But by nature, we, the conditioned living entities, are spirit. Right? How many bodies do we have? 1, 2, or 3, or 4? How many? 3 bodies. We got the material body, we got the subtle body, and we got the spiritual body. Right? So, the material body and subtle body is what we have got because of our past karma, which is within these 24 elements that we are talking about. But if we want to see Krishna, we got to destroy this material body, we got to destroy our subtle body, we got to bring forth our spiritual body, which is the real self. Right? And to do that, to bring forth our real self, to destroy the material and subtle body, we have to purify our senses. That's the only way. And how to purify? We can't do it alone. We need guidance. Who? Guru. We need realized souls, gurus, okay, to actually be our guide, to actually show us you are in a state of contaminated consciousness, to show us the path, okay, where they would then open our eyes of ignorance. Like earlier in the evoking auspicious in the beginning of the class, I chanted that mantra, Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam. Yeah? It means that Guru, who has opened my darkened eyes of ignorance with his torchlight of knowledge. And every day, even when we sing Guru Puja to Srila Prabhupada, Chakudan diloye, janme janme Prabhu se. We need Guru. Only when Guru enters our life, then this covering, this cataract that we have in our eyes can be removed. We can see things clearly as they are. And even that, the purification of our senses is not to bring us to the goal of seeing Krishna. That's not our goal. Our goal is to serve Krishna. But to serve Krishna, to purify our senses, to become pure devotees, we first got to hear. Only when we hear properly, then eventually we can see properly. Right? Prabhupada was one time asked when he gave a lecture in, I think it was Mexico. The question was to Prabhupada, can you see God? Or have you seen God? There was dead silence in the room. Prabhupada paused. Then he asked the question, he asked the audience a question. If I give my answer, will you believe? So they said, yes, okay, we'll believe. Right? Then Prabhupada answered, yes, I can see God. Then he recited the verse from Brahma Samhita. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santa sadaiva hridayesu vilokayanti yam shama sundaram achintya guna swarupam govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who is Shyamasundar, Krishna himself, who has got innumerable, inconceivable attributes, and whose pure devotees see him with the eye of devotion tinged with the self of love. Prabhupada recited that. Then he told the audience, you also can see God, but you must become qualified. How to become qualified? Right? We are fortunate, we are actually following the process to qualify ourselves. How? It starts with Shravanam. Okay? In yesterday's purport, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. These 9 processes of devotional service. That's what we are practicing now. This is the process where the purification is taking place by hearing. We have to hear regularly, attentively, and Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master told Prabhupada, or told other devotees about Prabhupada during his young years. He likes to hear. Right? Hearing is the beginning of our journey where our senses, all these contaminated senses, are getting used in the service of Krishna for our benefit of getting purified. Right? And which means we actually don't aim to see Krishna, but we need to behave in a way that Krishna will want to see us. That means cultivating devotional qualities. Cultivating wonderful devotees that a devotee needs to have to purify his senses. There are 26 devotional qualities that a devotee needs to have. Right? It's like we need to develop quality of cleanliness, tolerance, simplicity, humility, non-violence, and so on, many. Right? And it's interesting how Prabhupada defines humility. To us, humility, we feel humble when we bow our heads and, oh, Hare Krishna, Prabhu, please accept my obeisances. We fall at their feet. That's our display of humility. But Prabhupada's definition of humility is, humility means not being anxious to get the satisfaction to be honored by others. Meditate on that. Humility means not to be anxious to get the satisfaction to be honored by others. Sometimes secretively, when there is an award-giving ceremony or presentation or whatever, say book distribution or whatever, okay, and you are there standing behind very quietly, you have done some distribution, you're like anxiously waiting, they'll call my name, they'll call my name. That is not humility. Selflessness. Selflessness is total abandonment of surrendering to please Guru and Krishna. And Prabhupada also has an interesting way to define non-violence. Non-violence, we often regard that as we don't want to destroy or kill another body, another living entity. That's a common way of defining, understanding non-violence. All right? And it is regarded that being so means we are non-violent. But Prabhupada defines non-violence as if we do not elevate others in spiritual knowledge, we are practicing violence. I repeat. If we do not elevate others in spiritual knowledge, we are practicing violence. In this day and age where we see so many people suffering in ignorance, there's so much of godlessness. So, if we really want to fall into the category of being non-violent, we have to give this spiritual knowledge to these jivas out there. Because we are already receiving this through the mercy of Guru and Krishna. And that is Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement, to give this, become a guru and give this knowledge to every single jiva out there. Only then you would be classified as being non-violent. Right? And we are into the book distribution month, of course, book marathon month, right? So lots of books are getting distributed, and this is the opportunity where we actually practice non-violence, right? Not all of us have the art, the skills to actually carry a book in their hand, approach someone and say, buy this, or do the art of selling or distributing the book. Not all of us have that skill, right? But book distribution is not just that. It is the whole system that supports that, right? Starting with the temple, the book stock, where the books are getting printed, they need to be ready by such and such a time for the book marathon. The devotees need to be ready. The devotees need to plan, form the team, how they're going to do, setting targets. They say, okay, last year we did so many books were distributed, this year we want to increase this. Then setting teams, and then getting the books on time, and arranging their normal services, dedicating this 1 month just to focus on book distribution seva. It all supports this book distribution activity. This book distribution, as we know, these books are like time bombs. Okay? We don't know when they will explode. And I can tell you my story as to when it exploded in my life. Right? This is going back to the time when I was not a devotee. Way back in Malaysia, I come from Malaysia, so way back, it's like, it was one hot afternoon, there was a knock at the front gate, okay? Hot afternoon, I opened the door, and I was taking a nap, opened the door, I saw this saffron-colored person, right? Brahmachari, right? Then I thought, then I knew it was some religious person. Approached him, then I thought, okay, no, he's going to sell me something. I was a non-devotee at that time, and I came from a demigod worship background. I didn't know anything about Bhagavad Gita whatsoever, nothing. So this devotee, Brahmachari, he actually started talking to me, talking. I had no interest in buying. I had no interest to actually take that book. But I wanted to get rid of him. Right? So I gave a donation, took the book, Bhagavad Gita. Right? What did I do with the Bhagavad Gita? No intention of reading it. But I had a car at that time, driving all over and all that. To feel as though there was God in the car, I took the Bhagavad Gita and kept it in the glove compartment of the car. God is with me in my car. Yay! That was my connection. That's all connection I had with Bhagavad Gita. For many years it was there. I didn't touch it. But I was feeling comfortable that God is in the car. Right? It was like that for many, many years, until I moved to Melbourne many years later, decades later, and when I got connected to this temple, through the mercy of Guru and Krishna, one fine day I pulled out that Bhagavad Gita. To this day, I'm still reading it. I haven't mastered it. There's so much depth in it. Every time you read it, there's something refreshing which surfaces. It takes you deeper and deeper and deeper into the spiritual knowledge. That's an indication that you are actually making some progress, you're doing something right. You want to know if you're making progress in spiritual Krishna consciousness? Approach your guru and ask him the same question, first year, second year, third year, or longer time duration. Like in Jagannath Puri, when the devotees went to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they spent the 4 months there, Chaturmasha, and they were about to return to their villages. They're about to take leave, they'll go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and say, ask the question, who's a Vaishnava? First year, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, a Vaishnava is one who chants the holy name just once. Right? So they took that, they went back. Next year they came. Same thing happened, 4 months, they spent time with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then they asked the same question, who's a Vaishnava? Lord Chaitanya took them deeper. The answer was different. Anyone who chants the holy name all the time is a Vaishnava. They took that, they went back. Third year they came back. Okay, same thing happened. Who's a Vaishnava? Lord Chaitanya took them even deeper. Anyone that you see who will make you chant Hare Krishna is a Vaishnava. That's how you know, because Lord Chaitanya knew that the devotees were making progress, and that's how you know that you're making progress when the Guru actually takes you deeper and deeper into the philosophy with the same question. But the secret is to stay the course, stay the journey, and put in that first step of, like what Mother Devahuti did by declaring to Lord Kapila that I am sick and tired of these disturbances caused by my material senses, and I have fallen into an abyss of ignorance. When we declare that with open heart, then our journey of bhakti begins. Hare Krishna. Questions, comments?
Thank you. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for the nice class. I mean, as we said at some point that we cannot see, Krishna, because we have got our imperfect material eyes. But if we, of course, if he has got the, only by his mercy we will be able to see him. That's what I think. Because when he appeared on this earth, whether as Krishna or as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there were people who were able to see him, right? But they were also having our imperfect material eyes. So why do we say that we can never see him with our imperfect eyes?
It's not true. You see, you're right. When Lord Krishna appeared on this face of the earth, there were personalities like Duryodhana, right? Krishna was just right in front of Duryodhana. But Duryodhana never saw Krishna as God, right? But there were others who were exalted personalities who were already purified, right? Who were already purified and detached from the material senses while living on this material sphere. Those are exalted devotees can or did see Krishna, like Mother Kunti and all that. We use the example of a coconut. Okay, I'll explain this, a coconut. See, it's a funny example. Coconut. Well, when you see a young coconut, okay, there is flesh and sweet water, and the flesh is actually attached to the inner shell of the coconut shell, right? But that same coconut, when it matures, the water dries up, the flesh actually dries up, and it detaches from that shell of the coconut. It becomes what we call copra. It's full of oil. It's matured. But it is still within that same material sphere. But because it has matured by practicing devotional service, right? Now it has got that spiritual vision which Krishna grants. We can only practice, purify our senses to bring ourselves to a point to be eligible to see Krishna, but that final decision to grant us the vision is up to Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for giving an overall view for everything. You mentioned body, we have 3 bodies. I was thinking only 2, material and spiritual. But you mentioned there is a subtle body. Which is the third one? Can you explain?
Gross body is made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether.
But does it complete?
Subtle body is made up of mind, intelligence, false ego. Right? So we got to destroy these 2 for the spiritual body, the real self, to actually come. Right?
Thank you.
Krishna Prabhu, how do we know we are Krishna conscious? Even I'm chanting and doing devotional service, I feel like I'm an ordinary person like a karmi. So how do people can know they are Krishna conscious?
The fact that you are still staying on the path of serving Guru and Krishna is clear evidence that you are Krishna conscious. That is the process. Okay? But within you, you're asking, how do I know I'm Krishna conscious? Because the mind is going all over the place. Right? Again, the fact that we are determined, we have the desire to please Guru and Krishna, we are still continuing the process of chanting our 16 rounds, doing our seva, okay, following the 4 regulative principles. That is evidence that we are Krishna conscious. And this is a tried and tested, proven, effective path where the results will come. How do I say that? If you think about the time when we were not wearing this kind of devotional clothes, and think about yourself now, or look at yourself in the mirror, you know at least you have externally changed. At least your dressing has changed into devotional attire. That's improvement externally. Then comes the internal process. We got to become like the coconut by practicing, taking shelter of Guru. The process works. Prabhupada has given us a process which works. And we are here, as I just said, wonderful day, summer day, you could be doing anything else. But you are here in this room, you're spending time listening to whatever little value that I may be sharing with you because of your desire to want to become better devotee to serve Guru and Krishna.
Sometimes it's very difficult, like climbing a mountain is very difficult and going down is easy. It's like that all the time.
Yes.
How to be...
Yeah. Maya is very difficult to be overcome, correct?
Yeah.
But for a devotee who actually has taken shelter of Guru, it's like water in a calf's hoof spring. You can just cross over Maya, but it's the process. We got to stay the process. This difficulty, you got to remember, we have got millenniums of karma accumulated. But here's the thing. For all that karma that we have accumulated to bring us to this point of being able to chant Hare Krishna in this lifetime, it means In all our previous lifetimes, we have performed all kinds of Vedic sacrifices. We have bathed in all the holy rivers. We have read all the holy scriptures to be able to be in this lifetime to chant Hare Krishna. I'm not saying it. Bhagavatam, 3rd canto says this. So for all the difficulty that we are experiencing right now, this privilege to chant Hare Krishna in this lifetime now is what you have already done in all your previous lives. The credit, the Sukriti has been accumulating to bring us to this point where we are continuing from this point. Yes, it is less difficult compared to how we were in our previous lives.
Can we be Krishna conscious without taking Guru?
Look at the people outside ISKCON who are walking around the streets, and do you think they are getting closer to Krishna?
No.
So therefore, Guru is the bridge. One must approach the lotus feet of a Guru. Without Guru, we will become mental speculators, because Guru gives us the right source, the right interpretation of the Vedic scriptures, and in the correct way to receive it. Then we will stay on the correct path. Otherwise, we will deviate.
I'm talking about people coming to the temple. Not all of them have Guru. Can they get bhakti, Krishna conscious?
The mere fact that they enter the main gate of the temple to enter the temple premises already says that the seed of bhakti is beginning to germinate. Why? Because they have come to the temple. Yes, they don't have a guru, a diksha guru, but somebody has actually acted as maybe shiksha guru or Paramatma in the heart, saying it's time, now I'm going to bring you closer to this temple. And when they enter the temple circle, they associate with devotees, they take shelter of Prabhupada. Prabhupada becomes their guru from the time that they enter. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
How many questions here today? Oh gosh. Okay, we got to finish. Okay.
Thank you for all the teachings and the precious thoughts that you shared. I just wanted to understand that is it possible to change the spiritual body by not changing the gross body? Like you mentioned that we have to change our attire and the looks. Is it always necessary, or we can change it ourselves?
Spiritual body is eternal. It does not change. Because in the spiritual world, the jiva has already got a swarup. Okay, that's already a form that you have, I have, and everybody has. That's the form that we will take when we actually purify ourselves. That's already unchanged, eternal.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got a question here. She's got, after that, is that okay? Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for such a beautiful class, Prabhu. You were speaking about how when ignorance is in place, the Rakshasas flourish, and when passion is in place, the demons flourish. What is the difference between demons and Rakshasas?
Good question. Yeah. Good question. Demons and Rakshasas. Rakshasas are more gross than demons. Okay? They're more gross. Actually, it's a good question. I have to look it up. Demons, yeah, I don't want to speculate. That's all I can tell you. Yeah. Prabhu's there. And Mataji is there. Okay, we'll take this Prabhu's question, Mataji's question, and then we'll end the class. Okay, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Is the master to be a living person, or any past person also we can have as a guru?
Yes, you see Vani and Vapu, right? When the guru is physically present, you have the opportunity to have Vani and Vapu association. Vani means his words, his instructions. Vapu means his physical presence. But when the Guru leaves his body, then we are left with Vani, which means we can still stick to the words, the instructions that Guru has left behind and be guided by that. For example, Prabhupada has said his books will be the solace for us for the next 10,000 years. So he's left behind all these instructions for us. So he's still guiding us, even though he's physically not here. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the class. I have few simple questions. How long back did you read Bhagavad Gita for the first time?
Who, me? Gosh. Trying to think. 5 years after I got the book.
How long back? How do I know when you got the book?
So I got the book in 1998.
Okay.
Okay, then maybe I started touching the book more easily after 5 years. Until then, the time bomb was waiting to explode.
Yeah. So, or 20 years back.
Huh?
Or 20 years back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you explained the definition of humility. If I were to put it like for my brain to understand, is it okay to say stop getting impacted by external recognition is humility? Okay.
Yeah. That's right. Sincere humility or genuine humility means, as what I said earlier, we don't want any recognition. Right? We don't want the satisfaction to be honored. Honored means recognition. We don't want it. The only motive is to serve Guru and Krishna sincerely. And don't expect anything in return. Selflessness.
Yeah. And one last, how to find a Guru?
How to find a Guru? Approach Srila Prabhupada every morning, pray, and it starts there. Okay. Prabhupada is already our Guru. Okay. When you start there, he's our Jagat Guru, and he will guide us to a point where he will send another Guru into our lives.
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai.